The Black Panther discussion was held at Claiborne Temple yesterday. The discussion was held by Cynthia Daniels and Company, a company known for helping minority communities. The discussion was about the new Marvel hit that currently sits at $1 billion in the box office. The panelists included Memphis music artist King Dre, Memphis school board member Miska Clay Bibbs, local author Tanya Meeks, and equity director Sam O'Brien. The event was hosted by former reporter Jamie McGriff and marketing manager P.A. Bomani. The discussion was primarily focused on Eric Killmonger and King T'Challa, the main characters of the movie. Other characters included were the King of the Jabari tribe, the Wakandan princess, the CIA operative, and the women warriors. The discussion also included the comparisons to the characters in real life people. Dre said the main villain, Killmonger, wasn't the villain at all. He was trying to help his own people by using the resources of Wakanda. He also said that T'Challa was the antagonist and Killmonger was the protagonist. The discussion ended with the panelists describing ways of how to help the Memphis community with the message Black Panther sent. I'm Elbert Hubbard Jr. reporting. The University of Memphis held its annual graduate school fair on March 21st.
Graduate school is important because in our modern workplace, a bachelor's degree is helpful, but a graduate degree helps take you that extra mile and helps you stand out among employers even more.
The university offers nearly 100 majors in their graduate school. Hundreds of students were in attendance as they looked for degrees they wanted. The most popular degree among all of the master's degrees at the University of Memphis is the MBA.
So I would say the MBA is one of our highest sought after degrees, as well as degrees in the College of Education.
Colin Chappell is the coordinator for the University College. The graduate program is popular for those who are undecided.
We offer two separate master's degrees. We have the Master of Professional Studies, and in that there are actually three different concentrations.
The graduate school fair lasted from 12 to 2 p.m. Kyle advises students at a graduate degree program to help them in the long run at the University of Memphis.
It's also for people that want more specialized education in one certain area. So say you were really interested in your undergraduate degree and you want to learn even more about it. It also leads to teaching jobs. That's how a lot of teachers get started, is through graduate school.
I'm Elbert Hubbard Jr. reporting.
I started writing when I was actually started in the first grade. I was writing stuff, and I started writing news articles when I was in the 7th grade. I wrote my first article for my high school newspaper down in Mississippi, Panola County, North Panola High School. And once my story got published, I was bitten with the journalism bug. I never wanted to do anything else except be a journalist, and that's been my road for 50 or more years. And so I was a copy clerk when I was in college, and that basically meant that I was a gopher, and I would go and run errands for the reporters and the editors, and I would get coffee and cigarettes and soft drinks. And when I graduated from Ole Miss, the Commercial Appeal wouldn't hire me right out of college, so I got a job in Jackson, Mississippi, at the Clarion Ledger, and I worked there little less than 2 years. And the Commercial Appeal finally hired me, and I came to work for them in January 1977 as a general assignment reporter. Well, I worked at the Commercial Appeal for 10 years. I spent most of that time as a federal court reporter, although I covered other courts, state courts. I covered a lot of criminal trials, murder trials. I covered a lot of political corruption and federal cases. I came back to Memphis in 1994 as deputy managing editor. The television commentary, which started in January 2011, and I've been doing it now for about 7 years. It's my effort to just have a conversation with the community on public issues, on political issues, on social issues. I talk about issues of justice. I talk about poverty. I talk about the political goings on. I talk about education. And it's designed just to make people think and to consider my point of view. And it is my point of view.
So Oktoberfest is actually something that started about 40 years ago at Indiana University, and it's spread to several other universities across the country, and this is the 8th year that we've done it here at Memphis.
No, you went the wrong way. And y'all gonna turn this way to face general admission. And then you're gonna turn the right, y'all come to those right here. Where you see the tree, both trees you have to pose at the tree. And you're gonna pose in front of VIP first, general admission second, because you have to walk this way.
This is my first fashion show ever in my first collection, so yeah, this is the big thing, like all the new people, the new undiscovered talent at the University of Memphis and in Memphis Gym.
Ayes have it. Can we add to the agenda also the reading of the reading?
$2,489.23. That includes the money that's going to be transferred from PayPal. It should be hitting our account tomorrow. So in essence, that's what the total amount is.
Regionals, April 6th through April 8th. Sign up is still going on with them as well.
And I know we have a ton of other great Black producers in the city. I'm looking at one right now, Victoria.
Because I didn't want there to be any barriers to accessing the content. And so, you have to come up with your audience, your fundraising model, where you're going to have revenue streams, earned income. I learned a lot in that class, and I can remember talking to the professor, and he talking about funding, and I said, yeah, I'm going to really have to get outside funding, outside of Memphis. And he told me that no national foundation was going to give me money if I couldn't raise local money, that they were going to look at my budget and say, well, where's the local money? And so I told this professor, I'm not going to be able to get any local money because the people who have the money to give profit from things staying exactly the way they are. At a joint meeting of the Memphis City Council and County Commission the other day, and there was this, discussion about poverty and this, desire to invest in a sustainable pre-K education for these poor children. Okay, all children are poor because they don't have jobs, right? Like, they want to help these kids in pre-K, not because the kids are poor, but because the parents are poor. And the parents are poor because they have crappy jobs that don't pay enough for them to live on.